Good. Okay, welcome everybody to the August 6th Board of Commissioners meeting. I would ask everybody to rise. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, good morning and welcome to everybody that is here with us and joining us online to the August 6th Board of Commissioner meeting. Roll call please, Cheryl.
Ott.
Here.
Sykes. Groats.
Here.
Bowman.
Here.
Obermeyer.
Here. Okay, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, in the hallway outside of our chambers, and also on our website. Next up, the proof of publication was in the York News Times August 1st. It was also publicized on our website. Review and approve the minutes of the July 29th, 2024 Board of Commissioner meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Tell me if we're going too fast. Okay, we're good. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman.
Yes.
Ott.
Yes.
Groats.
Yes.
Sykes. Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, next up, need to adopt the agenda.
Move to adopt today's agenda.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Groats.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Ott.
Yes.
Sykes. Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, first off is officials forum. Morning, Harv.
Good morning, everyone. Road 18 between you and Highway 69 is open. The bridge is open. It's all done. It's carrying traffic. Still working on the west bridge on 22 between T and U, getting that one, getting the concrete that was in the old bridge out of there. Then just building the abutments and getting it gravelled, and then that will be open to traffic. So, other than that, we're just doing our work, hauling gravel, laying roads. I forgot to tell you, and you guys already all know it anyhow, but Road M, a truck hit the bridge probably 3 weeks ago. That road is closed, will be for quite a while.
Between what numbers are we?
Between 9 and 10.
Thanks.
It's the interstate
It
bridge.
goes over the interstate.
Okay.
So, from what it sounds like, it might not be a patch to fix it, so there you go. Anyhow, we'll see what happens there, but that's all out of our hands, that's all the
Right.
state's problem, so thank goodness. So, other than that, I don't have anything.
So do we block it back at 9 and 10?
Yes, I went out there, well, me and Greg went out there at 2 o'clock in the morning on the morning that it happened, and we barricaded the road. Then the state came back the next day, took all of our barricades down and put theirs up, so it's all in their hands,
Okay.
which is fine.
So obviously the ag producers can get around or whatever.
They're gonna have to go on 81 or over to Road P.
But as far as to get to their fields right
Oh,
there by
yes,
the,
they will
they have access to that.
access to their fields and stuff, yes.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a heck of a ride for the operator.
I can only imagine it would be. It's an experience I'd never want to have.
No, not at all.
So,
Okay, any questions of Harv this morning? Thank you, Harv.
yep.
Any other officials forum this morning? Seeing nobody else get up, seeing as how there's only one other one here, we'll move on to public comment. At this time, the public can come forward and comment if they would like on anything. Jack is not going to make the meeting today. Seeing none, we'll move down. Now, we are going to hold off on payroll and vendor claims till after we do the interviews and take care of that. So next up, Bob's here. Discuss and act on reappointment of Crystal Houston to the YC York County Visitors Bureau Board, YCBB Board. Morning, Bob.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. Yes, Crystal Houston would be interested in being reappointed to the YCBB board. She's finished one term and would like another.
Okay. She was, when I served on it, she was a participant. She was always there as much as she could be.
Right.
And
She's been a good board member for us.
brings a different perspective a lot of times on other stuff, but that was great. And that term will run from, Bob, do you know when?
4 years from
Today?
today.
Okay. Okay, any other questions of Bob while he's sitting there? Last month, huh, Bob?
Last month,
You gonna come see us again before you leave?
maybe.
You only got one more, only got one more meeting.
One more meeting. We'll see what happens with that one.
Okay,
You might see me again.
okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion. Yes, you, so please.
Move to accept Crystal Hoskin on the York County Visitors Bureau Board for a term of 4 years.
Thank you,
Second?
thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please, Cheryl.
Gross,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sykes, Overmeyer.
Yes. Sounds good, Bob.
Thank you.
Well, if we don't see you again, enjoy your last month.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be back.
Oh, good. Okay, next up, discuss an act, I don't know if Kurt is here yet, so we'll skip by that. We can get to the discuss an act on approving the Housing Advisory Committee recommendations for send.
Was
Have
there,
to scoot down there just a little bit. Was there anything on there?
there was nothing attached.
Yeah, where's that at?
Number
12,
12.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Did he not?
Mary, do you know,
I could go double check.
okay, why don't you do that for us, please? We do have the,
Should be in the folder that we had.
okay. Discuss an act on adopting resolution to approve county inventory. That was there, and that's just a normal every year item. Every office goes through and does the inventories.
This is the hatch. This is Vanguard.
No, that's Vanguard. I want Kurt to speak to that. That's inventory.
Who got it?
Any questions on the inventory?
Is this the one where we all have to sign every sheet, or is this? Not that
I think we do,
it seems like.
because there's more than just this
Right.
sheet here. Yeah, we
Yep.
do.
Yeah. But yeah, motion to approve and accept the county inventory.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Sykes, Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, next up, discuss an act on annual certification program compliance resolution roads department. Harv, you want to speak to that a little bit?
What we do every year.
Mhm.
Are we following the rules? Yes.
Best of our knowledge, right?
Yes.
And this is by resolution. It appears, because the resolution is in there, and it is signed by all county board members.
Motion to, motion to adopt resolution approving county annual certification of program compliance.
Second.
Thank you, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Ott.
Yes.
Sights. Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay. We got 5 minutes yet. Let's see if Kurt is over there quick.
May I run driving?
Yes,
He
please.
had something to do this morning.
He wasn't gonna be around.
He asked to have his stuff put off till later in the meeting.
Oh, he did. He asked you
Unless
that.
he talked to Mary.
Okay.
I thought he was gonna talk to you.
Nope.
Not available at
He-
the current moment.
Cheryl thought that, lights off yet. Yeah, he had something to do this morning, so we're gonna put that off. Okay, waiting on that. And didn't skip anything. We'll get Chandra down here afterwards.
Funding transfer.
There is none.
I didn't see a red page, so that's why I asked.
Well, we'll have these interviews here just in a few minutes, so we'll wait for that, and we'll see if Mary has anything to go. As far as the rest of the agenda today, guys, in one item in particular, the budget workshop, we'll go through, did everybody get the copies of the budgets, expenditures, and revenues, and try to go through there, you know, the whole thing, answer any questions that we can. I've got some notes written down pertaining to that. I was gonna give Jill a text to let her know when we start, so she was gonna watch. She will be out here next week, the 13th and 14th, to start on our audit and be part of whatever budget process we may be going on next week. It would be nice to have most of it solidified by the next meeting. Not to say we can't make any changes, but it'd be nice to have a lot of that done by the next meeting. And we should be able to pull that off. Currently, we're just a little bit up, and from where we were at last year, which, you know, we'd like to curtail just a little bit of those. And the main one to look at on our funding analysis is the one that's got the percentages without the health insurance in there. That will give you the best idea.
I saw it was without health insurance.
Yeah, so it gives you an idea of what this year's budget would have looked like actual, last year's budget would have looked like actual, and the proposed budget would look like too. So that's kind of the main one if you want to look at percentages of difference compared to our last year's budget. And then the other one is the line by line, and which refresher is, you know, for the elected officials, we really, the only line we have a decision on is the bottom line. We obviously have to look at all the lines and, you know, we can comment on, but the main decision that we have to make is on the bottom line. But with the department head budgets, that's a little bit different. It's, you know, we can adjust those as we see fit with all the department heads, so.
Is there gonna be a certain time or meet on the 13th?
Well, no, we haven't decided. We'll decide that today if we need to do it again or not, or if we want to divide up and go visit with others about, you know, possible areas of change. We sure can, but if we want to meet next week, then we got to get in the paper.
No.
As soon as possible.
With this 13th and 14th thing.
Right. No, there's nothing decided yet. She will be here the 13th and 14th to start our audit process, but she'll be able to work on the budget at that time too.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay.
See anything about committees.
Okay, so let's table that one.
Yeah, that's
Till the
fine.
next meeting, until we get some more information, so we could act on that now quick, and then we'll go on to the other.
Motion to postpone housing advisory committee recommendations for send.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Gross.
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Sykes, Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay. Well, I've got right at 8:45. Mary is in here, and as far as the 5 applicants, Keisha, if I'm saying that right, and Kevin Hand have withdrew their resumes. So we have Mary, Angelica, and Amanda. Are you?
Amanda?
You're Amanda?
Yes.
Okay. And you must be Angelica?
Yes.
Okay. So basically what we're going to do at this point in time, randomly, I had a couple different people help me with coming up, getting the names in order to interview. And basically, we'll ask you to come forward, name and address for the record, give us as much of your background as you would like. And then if the commissioners have any questions, they will ask you the questions that they have. And then we'll go on to the next and to the next. After that point in time, then the commissioners will adjourn, or not adjourn, but go into closed session to discuss what we've heard and to make a decision at that point in time for the office of York County Clerk. So I have the first one up on mine is Angelica. You're first up. So if you would come up here once again, you may have to pull that mic a little bit closer to you if you or speak up, and name and address once again for the record, and we'll let you kind of go from there.
Hi. So my address is 546 West 5th Street, York, Nebraska 68467.
Okay, thank you. As much of your background as you want to say, give us your history, why you want to be the clerk of York County, stuff like that, if you would.
So about a year now, I've lived here in York. My husband and I actually were living in Omaha for a couple years. I worked at Metro Stars Gymnastics. I was a director there for about a year and a half. So I did a lot of organizing. The program that I worked in, which is a trampoline and tumbling program. I talked to a lot of parents daily. I coached kids about 90% of the job. So I was able to really learn from other people and teach their kids, and I enjoyed that a lot. And then July of last year, my husband transferred from Levander's Auto Body to here in York, and I worked at the Digital Solutions for photography. So I traveled a lot of Nebraska. I photographed kids for their school pictures. I did a lot of sports pictures, and I learned so much from being like thrown out of like the nest and learning new things and troubleshooing. So, and then from January till present, I have been working at Cornerstone Bank. I'm a account operations specialist, so I do a lot of the background work. So any new accounts that come our way, we go through like the fraud, and basically their background, make sure that everything looks okay for them to open up new accounts.
Is that pretty much what you want to say?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Gentlemen, at this point in time, I would, if anybody has any questions, they may ask. We do have your resume and have had your resume in front of us. So I guess, I'll start off as far as the county clerk position. It has a couple, 3 different hats: Register of Deeds, Election Commissioner, County Clerk, payroll, and they take care of the payroll for our employees. They also take care of paying our bills. What do you feel qualifies you to wear that one big hat with all those three little hats, you know, underneath it.
Yeah, so obviously, like my resume, there has been multiple positions I've worked. So I feel like I have a lot of diverse, like, okay, I've worked customer service with parents. I've did a lot of background, like paperwork, and I've traveled and were like pushed out of the nest and on my own type of thing. So like I wear those different hats. So I feel like that would help a lot here in that position. So I feel comfortable like kind of reaching out in different places rather than just being like, okay, I'm in this one position, this is what I do daily, and it's a repeat. So I'm used to like doing different things, it's not just one thing, so.
And as far as the office is concerned, it has 4 employees. Have you been in that position where you've had overtaught or, you know, the boss of 4 employees or 5 or any number of people that has served underneath you?
So I was a director at Metro Stars. There were a lot of like, we had coaches that were just like part-timers. So I would be like the overseer of those, like, I think we had like 5 or 6 coaches in that program. So any training that they did, I was overseeing it. Any questions they had or parents' concerns, I was overseeing that as well. So in a way I have, but I know it's different.
Gentlemen, anything else?
How do you handle adversity in the workplace?
What was it?
How do you handle adversity in the workplace? Tough
Adversity.
situations, personnel?
So for adversity, adversity, you mean like
Problems,
problems?
issues?
Okay. So I worked as a photographer. We dealt with a lot of troubleshooting, so a lot of like on the questions, concerns. We dealt with a lot of equipment that I was not used to at all. And they trained us for like a week, and then they're like, okay, now you gotta do your own pictures. So I felt like adversity for that. I had my questions right from the get-go, or like if I had any questions, I'd be like, okay, I gotta reach out, you know, ask those questions while I had them. And then I knew like, okay, if this doesn't work, try something different, or, you know, if I need help, reach out.
How did you deal with, I'll go to the gymnastics one, because that will be where, how did you deal with when you got complaints from parents about the other coaches?
We dealt with that a little bit. I reached out to the parents and say, okay, this, like, what is your concern? What do you see, what do you want us to, like, I guess your opinion on what we should do, or like how, I guess what was going on, because I probably wasn't there. And then we'd always go back to the training and say, okay, this is what like our training looks like. You know, how do we go from training to helping that coach? So we don't want to be like, okay, a parent complained about you, you know, you're doing this wrong. Instead, we just say, okay, let's help them, rather than just tear them down, I guess.
The clerk's office is very integral in all parts of the county. Works with all of the different departments. So as you can imagine, there's different personalities in each of those departments. How do you work how do you work with personalities that differ from your own?
So I guess what do you mean by like?
Just when you encounter a personality that might not be one that you naturally mesh well with, how do you adjust so that you can work professionally with that
Yeah,
personality?
so I guess I try to learn from them and learn the differences. Like, okay, I see how they work, see if that applies to anything that I work with, and go from there, I guess.
Have you had experience either working with or preparing like a budget for a department?
I have a little bit at MetroStars. We had a budget of like, okay, like ordering mats or when we went to training, other places to go train. I dealt with a little bit of budgeting, so like, okay, like these mats, this is how much we have for the year, monthly, whichever we discussed. And I'd say, okay, we need this mats, or these mats because they're tearing or not safe. And then like any training things that we had, so we had like little categories. But that's about as much budgeting I've had.
Problem solving. The clerk's office tends to be an office that gets dumped on. You know, not only by our courthouse or our county family, because the clerk's office works integral with the commissioners. Commissioners make decisions and then, you know, so it gets dumped on. And then of course there, as I mentioned before, there's payroll that comes out of there. There's accounts payable, and you know, today there'll be $300-some thousand that we're paying bills that we do. So how would you rate your problem solving skills when it comes to, I mean, you just never know what's going to come up, you know, at any given day, any given time throughout the day. The public comes in, you know, different things like that. How would you say, and a lot of these problems, I mean, they have to be handled, you know, not on the spot, but fairly rapidly. So how would you rate like your skills of problem solving?
I'd rate them pretty high. With that photography business I had, I was on my own. So like any troubleshooting I had, I was like, okay, we've done these troubleshootings millions of times during training, you know, okay, let's try those things first. If that doesn't work, try something different, you know, just, and then if I had any questions that I did not know, then I would reach out. And then with that Cornerstone job that I have now, we do a lot of like different things. So like we deal with new accounts, so we have new accounts coming in, and then we have changes to current accounts. So we have like phone numbers, emails, stuff like that we have to change as well. And then we have paperwork that we have to review. So like sometimes it gets very, very busy. And then sometimes it's like, okay, we can catch up on these things because it's a little slower. So, and I was there right when it was getting crazy. So, I'm used to like the fast pace craziness of it all. So.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay organized with it.
Guys, is there more questions? I mean, I just want to explain to her just a little bit of the process. Okay, you're asking to be an appointed official. And an appointed official is a little bit different than an elected official. You have the same titles as the elected official, but you're truly not elected until the people elect you. The appointed part would be for the next 2.5 years, just under 1/2 years. There would need to be a contract signed with the commissioners, and so it doesn't have the safety net of the elected official. The elected official is chosen by the people, and if the people are tired of them, then they do something about it. The contract would be something that we would want you to review and sign before it would be official. And that is something that we just have to do. You know, we went through an episode here just a few years ago where we fought with one, and so that would be a no problem in your book as far as having a contract that would be signed with us. Okay. Any other questions?
Two that I would follow up with.
Okay. Thank you.
To that point, this position will be up for election in 2026. And so if you were selected and wanted to continue in that role, you would have to file and run for the election. I just wanted to understand that you've thought through that, and that should you be selected, that would be a step that you're ready to take in a couple of years.
Yes.
Just one to close out with on mine. If you could time travel to any time, any place, where would it be and why?
I would say the 50s.
Okay.
The diner, food, all of that. I'm a big food person, so.
Sure.
Okay. We're good? Okay, Angelica, thank you. Thanks for sitting in the hot seat and warming it up for the next one. We'll go through these. Like I say, you're obviously more than welcome to stay in the audience there. Next up is Mary Melby. And we will ask you to start off the same way. Name and address for the record.
Good morning, Mary Melby. I live here in York at 15 Arbor Heights. And I have been working for the county clerk for 6 years. This August is 6 years. I've been deputy clerk for almost 3. Know the inner workings of the office, and I would be great at this job. So, if you have any questions for me, I would love to answer them.
Oh, okay. I was hoping you'd speak a little bit longer.
A little bit longer?
That's fine. Okay. But some of the questions are obviously gonna sound the same. You know, I mean, we're not HR. We may have talked to HR, but may or may not have talked to HR. So I'll start off with the problem-solving one, Mary. You know, obviously saying you've been here 6 years, you obviously know what happens in and out of that office, and your problem-solving skills, where do you feel like you're at, and how would you take care of those day-to-day problems that you're aware of?
There, just in the last few days, there has been problems. I think you just roll with the punches. If you don't know the answer to it, you will ask and find out. Problems arise every day. Some are big, some are little, some we can decide in our office what to do. Sometimes I have to call you guys and say, hey, I need some help with this. Don't understand.
Currently, serving as the deputy, and working in that office, you know the way the clerk ran her office, and it was her office to run. You may want to run it a little bit differently than the clerk did. Not saying the clerk didn't do it right, but everybody's different. Everybody runs it just a little bit differently. With the current staff that you have on hand, would there be not a need, but a rush to fill what would be presumed a vacant seat in that office?
With elections coming this year, I think...
Couple months.
Yeah, in 5 seconds, I heard that comment. Yes, I do believe we would need to fill that position. Cheryl's family is on the ballot, so she cannot help us with the election, so there will only be 3 of us. So, yes, I do believe that position, or hire somebody to help with the elections.
Okay.
I do feel that the Register of Deeds could probably take over AP as well, or Cheryl, if she didn't have HR, she could do AP and payroll, but HR is a huge thing as well.
Okay.
So it could run a little bit more, I wouldn't say efficient, I believe that it's running efficient now, but I do feel we'll need help with the elections.
Okay, yeah. Gentlemen?
What, so obviously being in your current role, you've had a little bit of supervision experience. What other supervision experience have you had in other roles?
I owned a salon and I was boss to as many as 5 people in the salon.
And did that included hiring and
Hiring,
possibly letting go?
terminating, correct.
I guess a follow-up to that is, how did you handle those instances where you had to make those difficult decisions?
They are difficult, but in the big picture, I had to take care of my business and my existing employees that were of value, you know. And it's my name on their work, on the way they handle themselves. Again, it's difficult, but I had to look at the bigger picture and say what's best.
I would ask the same thing in the position of the clerk's office being very integral in all of the county. It's just human nature. We're not all wired the same. How do you interact with those personalities that might differ from those that you would naturally mesh well with?
I think you need to stay professional and focus on the issue rather than personalize things. You work on the problem and stay professional at it. And communication is a huge thing.
Okay, Mary, with your background, not the last 6 years, but your before the last 6 years, now you got into a job that you're dealing with numbers all the time, not only the budget, but being accounts payroll, or not payroll, but I know that you all cross-train and do other things. As far as, is that your dream job? You like the numbers?
I never realized how I liked numbers. I do. I love numbers and I love staplers.
Staplers too,
Yeah,
okay.
staplers. I could have a dozen staplers. No, I did not realize that. I mean, obviously working in the salon and working on the business side of things, I enjoyed that. And that's what I do now, is work with numbers and the memory of oh yeah, I did that. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Yeah,
Okay.
I do enjoy it.
So it isn't I mean, at times it can be a very daunting task. You know, our budget is not one little piece of paper
No, it's
that you
not.
deal with. I mean, we deal with it almost every day. And so that doesn't overwhelm.
No.
Okay.
What do you think would be your biggest challenge in changing jobs, taking that job in that office behind that window? What do you think would be the biggest challenge?
There would be a couple. Resolutions. You know, what's a resolution versus a motion, and elections. will be a huge challenge. Making sure the ballot is done right, the names are spelled correctly. Those are probably the two biggest challenges, I would say. And then my patience. I don't have very good patience. So just need to learn to be patient and things will just fall in its place.
At least you didn't say the five of us.
Yeah. You guys are
Yeah.
gonna be my worst.
We can be. I mean, all honestly.
Been known.
We can be tough.
I can be tough too, but as long as we communicate, it'll be great.
What, so public service, it's different than working in a private industry. What attracts you to working in the public sector?
I've always worked with the public. That's it's really no different. I did hair for 25 years and ran across 1,000 different personalities, and the setup here, we have people coming up to the window to get a marriage license, to file to be on the ballot, to do research. We had a gentleman yesterday in here all morning doing genealogy research. You know, it's just, I love people.
Mary, what do you think your number one skill you'd bring to the office would be?
I'm sorry.
What would your number one skill you'd bring to the job?
My knowledge of the job, of all around.
I'll ask the opposite question. Biggest weakness?
My patience, probably. I need to learn that I don't, if there's a deadline on the 10th, I want to get it done on the 5th. And there's a couple reasons why for that, just to check it off and then have time to look it over and make sure it's all good before I submit anything.
What, how do you motivate yourself?
I sing, whistle. You know, that's a good question. I just motivated anyway. I want to do a good job. Naturally, I'm motivated, but you know.
How do you motivate others?
Encouragement. And any mistake can be fixed.
Okay, at this time then,
I have one more.
well, you got one more?
One more.
Is this the,
The question.
Yeah.
You guys are
If,
tough.
Go ahead.
what would you title your autobiography?
Do you want the real word or
Nice.
what a ride?
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
is that it? You come up with some good questions, Daniel.
Did I?
Making me think over here. Okay, back, same way, there'll have to be a contract for the 2.5 years, that contract will state certain things, you know, that if you're not up to the performance or stuff like that, you can be let go. This is an appointed to an election, And just so you're aware of all that. That contract won't have to be signed today, but it will need to be signed before we can go forward and make sure that we have the right person for this job. And then, as Daniel brought up with the election process, you know, that will take place starting actually just next year, because we'll have to, those of us that want to file again, will have to file again and go through that process for a year before the new term starts in 27. So feel comfortable with all that above. This is your lifelong.
This is my lifelong dream, you guys.
It is. Good. Okay, anybody else have anything else for Mary before we're done? We've been about 15 minutes on both of you, so that seems to be about fair. And the seat should be nice and
Nice
toasty
and
now
warm.
for Amanda.
Thank you
Thank you, Mary.
very much.
And Amanda, we will ask you to come forward at this time, and once again, name and address for the record, and give us your background as much as you want to relay.
Amanda Taggart, 505 Elm Street in Gresham, Nebraska, 68367. I have been in service as long as I've been working, whether it's internal or external customers. I had got my associates in accounting. I worked for the Horseshoe Casino in the accounting department for about 5 years as a revenue auditor, which means I got to go through all of the paperwork that came off the floor, make sure all the I's were dotted, T's were crossed, everything added up. We had to then make reports that were turned into the Nebraska State Gaming Commission, so everything had to be correct to the penny. If we found something that didn't, we wrote what were called exceptions that were then delivered to that employee's manager, so that they would accrue points. If they got so many points, unfortunately, they'd be terminated. So that would be rough, especially if it, you know, people that you worked with, people that you liked, but you still had to give them the exception if you found something was done incorrectly. I loved that job, actually. The only reason I left that job was they sourced their accounting department, centralized it to Las Vegas, and I wasn't in any time of moving to Vegas at that time to continue, so I left there. I then worked as, at a high school, during high school I worked for Taco Bell for a long time. So after that fell through at the casino, I actually went and got an assistant management position with Taco Bell back there. So I got to do a lot of management training, a lot of classes that I had to go work in other stores with other managers, serve safe classes, that kind of thing, to be able to go and work there. Fast food is a interesting position, I guess. Lots of weird hours. Eventually it just didn't work with my family, working until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then having to be back at 10 a.m. sometimes, long hours. It didn't work that way with my family at the time. I'm currently at Columbus Motor Company as a parts manager. I've been in that position for about 1.5 years. I actually have my 6-year anniversary there tomorrow. Tomorrow would be my 6 years there. I came on as a warranty administrator. I had absolutely no idea what that entailed when I applied for the position. Honestly, I didn't know what a tire light meant on my car at the time. I now know more about cars than I ever dreamt in my life I ever would. When I started that position, they hadn't had anybody in that position for a while. It was sort of a mess, and they didn't really have anyone to train me. So it was very much a trial by fire. There were some computer courses that had to be taken in order to even be able to get into the system to do the work. But past that, you just got a lot of web links and a hotline. I got to reach out to a couple other dealers and speak with their warranty administrators at the time to figure out if I couldn't find it myself, like I've looked through all these things, how do I do this? I started getting that down pretty well, and so then it wasn't filling my day. So I took on accounts receivable. So I have since then been doing the warranty and the accounts receivable. I also took on recon management for a while, which was checking in all of the used cars, following them through the inspection process, the parts ordering, what it was going to cost, getting it okay through the sales department, what it was going to cost to fix that vehicle, or what work we were allowed to do on that vehicle, and then getting it to detail and eventually out onto the lot within a week. Once the parts manager position came open, I moved into there because I wanted to be back in management. I wanted to move up, I wanted to move forward, I wanted to learn new things. And so now I've been in there for about 1.5 years. I'm also still doing the accounts receivable. I'm still doing the warranty credit memos. Doing about, I'd say 20% of the warranty submissions. Nobody else enjoys the body shop submissions, and so I am still doing those, and most of the pre-authorizations for the service department, helping out our current warranty admin with anything that she has issues with. And now working as the parts manager, I have weekly Monday meetings where we go over our tracking numbers, where we're at, where we want to be, what our plan is to get to where it is that we need to be. Every month we fill out what they call our report cards, which shows basically where our numbers are now, where we're standing, where we're going. I have loyalty percentages I have to watch. I have aged inventory percentages I have to watch. We fill out our cigar box, which actually I have a meeting on when I get out of here, where we break down the percentage. It's basically our budget. It's what percentage per dollar that we held is going to what department. What's going to personnel, what's going to semi-fixed, what's going to total fixed, what our gain or loss was. And we fill out our monthly expense sheet, which I also am going over. I am in charge of the money that my department spends, whether it's on at least on the semi-cost that I can control. What are we paying for brake clean that we're ordering? What are we paying for the floor clean that we're paying, that we're ordering? Where can we get the oil that is bulk for the service department? We're in charge of finding where we can get that for, better deal. To help out the other departments as well. And I'm not a big room, but this is definitely a brand new thing for me with everybody, so sorry for my nerves and stutter.
Employees, have you ever had to manage employees? 1, 2, 3, 4 dozen?
Absolutely. I have 5 that answer directly to me right now.
Okay.
My 3 in my parts department, Melissa, who is my warranty administrator, answers to me directly right now. And the gentleman who is doing recon, I'm over him at the moment while he's coming into his new position. We just moved him in.
So you do the reviews, you do the wage setting or recommendation of wage settings and
Yes.
stuff like that
Say
throughout the year?
recommend.
Okay. The learning curve, as you've had the advantage to hear 2 others in front of you, and whether you've picked up the fact that we're in the middle of the budget process, getting close to hopefully finalizing it, but the learning curve is going to be steep and fast with elections coming up. And how do you view yourself as somebody that, you're going to be under pressure to get certain things done? Work well in that situation? How do you rate yourself there?
For one, like a 1 through 10, I'd probably say a 9. Everybody has a little bit of a freak out when it gets too far, but I'd say probably a good 9. We're under pressure every day. We have, freight coming in, we have this customer coming in, we have multiple departments right now that we have to have work together, and sometimes communication is lost between there, but we still have to take care of that customer. So whether somebody said, oh, by the way, I told this person to come in, well, I don't have their parts. I have to figure out how I'm gonna source their parts here now and like yesterday to make sure that we're still taking care of that customer, even though somewhere in that chain, somebody dropped the ball.
Okay, gentlemen?
How do you handle, excuse me, how do you handle adversity in your workplace?
I've always worked with all walks of life, I'd have to say. So everybody's different, everything's different. I just make sure that I'm always friendly with everybody. If there's a problem, I've had to more than once tell my people, hey, you know what? I don't care who did it. How are we gonna fix it? Like, what do we need to do to fix it? And then obviously have to figure out what happened and try to fix that so it does not happen again. But to just let everybody know, hey, okay, calm down, pull it together. We just need to figure out the best way to fix this before we worry about what happened.
How would you describe your leadership style?
I try to lead by example, I suppose. I've always been a hard worker. I've always wanted everything done pretty precisely and punctual, and I've got a lot of urgency normally in everything that I'm trying to do. And so I guess I just try to show people, hey, why are you sitting? I'm not. We have things we need to be doing. And so, yeah, I would say I basically just lead by example, but and always being open to if somebody needs help with something to let me know.
You mentioned working with the costs and controlling costs of your department. What other experience do you have in budget preparation or working with a budget?
When I worked at Taco Bell, I also did the food ordering as part of the assistant position. I did the food ordering, and so I always had to look out, how much of this did we use, how much do we need, so that we didn't overstock or not have enough room or have, too much, too little, too much. So I did, yeah, that was.
What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment in your career so far?
I'm gonna say, right now, at least as the parts department, our inventory. I came into quite a mess, but whether it was my fault, it was still my problem. So we came in, we had almost 40% aged inventory. We are now about 14. Our inventory had not been correct in a very long time. And the last full inventory that we did, we were only off about $3,000, which still sounds like a big number, but in the whole wave of things is a very good number.
So I've asked the other three, so I'll ask you the same. Again, clerk's office works with all aspects of the county government. How do you interact with those personalities that aren't your natural mesh?
I feel like for the most part I get along with everybody that I come in because I'm very open-minded. I mean, when we take orders and work with a lot of wholesale right now, and some of the other shops that call us and stuff for parts, some of those guys are a little gruff, I guess you could say. But I mean, as long as you just stay pleasant, professional, and do what you can to help them out, we don't usually have too much blowback or problem with them.
Briefly, can you, what draws you to county government? County government is a different form of government. We're close and upfront with the people, but it's just different. So what draws you to that?
I'm always up for a new experience, because honestly, I've never been in a government position. I've never been in a county position, but it's something that I think that I would be good at, and something that I think that I would do well. Everything that I've heard so far is what the position entails is a lot of what I think that I have built up through the previous experiences that I have had. And so it's just something that I think sounds like it would be a new challenge, but it's kind of exciting.
Okay. And to that, you know, I don't know if there'll be any more questions or not. Same thing, there'll be a contract. It is just that position right now. It's just an appointed, elected position. So you're okay with the contract and working under a contract the next 2.5 years. And then after that, you would be under contract with the people of York County, which, you know, as long as you please 51%, you're okay. You know, but sometimes that's a very daunting task too. So be okay with that as far as the contract and one that'll be signed, and basically you'll be answering to the board, not solely, but that first 2.5 years is kind of that way.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it's terrifying, but exciting at the same time.
Any other questions? Leroy, Andy, Daniel, I know you got one.
You got one.
Of course. If you could have a highway billboard marketing yourself, what would it be?
A highway billboard. I'd say probably a picture of my family. Big part, really important. I mean, your family makes you.
Okay, thank you. Thank all three of you for coming in and applying for this, sitting in a hot seat, putting up with questions. You know, who knows what we're going to ask up here. I think the consensus is, you know, obviously we want to try to pick. There's no way we can know for sure, but we want to try to pick the best person for this job. And so at this point in time, I would like to go into executive session to discuss what we've heard, and then we'll come back out and discuss a little bit more openly. And so at 9:32, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Who was second?
Me.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Griggs.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Chris, you can stay if you'd like. If you'd like, I mean, it's up to you.
I just
solely.
want to make sure that any questions on the contract.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll be done here in a little bit. We'll call everybody back in.
Okay, all right, that was my question. I'm
Yep,
like, can I
no,
just
we're not
hang
kicking you out forever. No, we just got to kick you out for a little bit.
Okay.